Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Toon review for the latest Newcastle United news live. Decided to do a few more of these live instead of recordings. Just feel it connects more with the viewers, etc. So welcome, everybody. My name's Paul. Thank you for tuning in. And, of course, if you do enjoy today's show, please give it the thumbs up. And if you are new and you like what you see, why not come and subscribe to this fantastic community right here on the Toon Review YouTube channel. You can, of course, support the channel in two usual ways. First of all, by membership, just clicking the join button underneath myself. And, of course, Super Chats, which is the $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and that will guarantee your comment to be read out live on the show. Obviously, the header of today's show was, is Bowen a target? And then we'll talk about Lewis Hall, because he has been watched by the new England manager, not Lee Carseley, but the new England manager. So we'll see whether there'll be any feedback to Lee Carseley to get him in the squad, because apparently the new England manager is very, very impressed with what he's seen. But we'll start off with Jarrod Bowen. There's a few reports kicking around today that Newcastle United could well be looking at bringing Jarrod Bowen in January. Now, I've seen a few comments in the chat already saying, I don't think he'll come. I don't think he'll come. That's fair enough. There's not a problem with that, because I think it would be a very difficult transfer to get through in the first place. But is Bowen the type of player that Newcastle United are going to be looking at come January? Premium Mobile Valentin, thank you very much for your first ever super chat on the channel. Thank you very much. George, good afternoon to you as well. Of course, we've seen many people say about Mbeumo. There has been links to him as well. Apparently, Brentford are wanting 50 million quid for this guy, so he's not going to come cheap. But with Bowen, he's contracted to West Ham till 2030. Now, there's nothing in the report about any transfer fee or anything, but given that he's what, 26, 27 now, Jarrod Bowen, coming into the prime of his career, it will be a great time to get him. But it's all about going out and getting him, but I don't, what, if this is the type of player that we're looking at, whether it be Jarrod Bowen or not, I think it's a very, very good signing for Newcastle United, that type of player. And it's that type of player that we really want. Somebody that will go down the wing, somebody that will attack the defenders, somebody that will put a ball in. Of course, Anthony Gordon is doing that on the right-hand side for us at the moment. But whether there's any plans to move, Gordon back to the left, at the moment, I'm quite happy to see Joe Linton play there with Willock supporting him. I think it works very, very well. It certainly works better than what Harvey Barnes has worked in the past, although Harvey Barnes has scored a few goals for us, don't get me wrong. We just look a little bit more balanced, and I don't know whether you guys agree with that, but I think the team itself looks very much more balanced than what we've seen in previous games. Peter McCardle says, I'd rather have Mbeumo than Bowen. Bowen doesn't fit the remit of signing younger players. He has no sell-on value. Very good point. He has no sell-on value. But how many times are we going to bring players into the club just for the sell-on value? We need players at this club who are going to do it now. And many people, yes, we've brought in Livramento, we've brought Lewis Hall in. These type of players are definitely for the future as well. They're making the way in the first team nicely now, but they're also going to be part of Newcastle United's first team for years to come. So we are doing that. But there is a remit there to bring in youngsters, but I think there has to be a remit to bring in experience as well. Whether they've got a sell-on value or not, there's always going to be that one or two players that surely come in that are in the peak of their form right now, which is certainly where Jarrod Bowen is. He's 26, 27 years old. He's a very, very good player as well. And I know there'd not be much sell-on value if he signs, a 3-year contract. He'd be 30. And right wingers, 30, maybe the pace is starting to decline, etc. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is no sell-on value. But right now, we have to deal with the here and now, surely. Let's have a look. Chris says, how wants the right wing from Brentford, and 50 million is decent for him? Hey, listen, I agree. Stato's been belting out Mbeumo's name for months and months on end now. And he's had a terrific start of the season. And if there was going to be a number one choice for us to go for a right winger, then Mbeumo for me is the man. There's no doubt in my eyes, and there's no doubt in a lot of Newcastle fans' eyes, that Mbeumo, 50 million quid. I mean, that's what's been banded around, obviously, in the press. Brentford don't want to lose him. They've made that very vocal that they do not want to lose Jarrod Bowen. So it's not Jarrod Bowen, sorry, Mbeumo. So, these wingers are going to be very hard to get because West Ham don't want to let Bowen go either. January is a very difficult time to sign players because, West Ham especially, they've had a dreadful start of the season. Absolutely awful, considering the signings that they made in the summer and where we thought they were all going to be. West Ham are not in the position that I think anybody predicted, and they've had a dreadful start. Now, Bowen, obviously, West Ham will be desperate to hang on to him because he is one of the players that can make a difference. But it's not working at West Ham at the minute. We only seem to buy English players lately. Peter thinks, I think Gordon stays on the right. That first-time Cross has said it. Listen, that may well be the plan going forward. And of course, these news shows are just based on what we hear in the media. And it creates a bit of conversation amongst us fans. I'm not sitting here for 1 second saying we're going to go out and get Jarrod Bowen or we're going to go out and get Mbeumo. But these are the type of wingers that would excite me. I mean, Anthony Gordon on the right wing does excite people. That wonderful cross that he put in for Isak just proves that he could do the job there. And he was one of the top players against Arsenal. So I have no problem if we decide to go with that. But then we have to look at other positions on the pitch that need dealing with. And a centre-back, I guess, is the next one in line, or definitely a striker. But this right-hand side has been a problem for many, many moons now, where we've just seemed to stick with Jacob Murphy and Miguel Almiron. And I think the time is now to change it. It really is. We look a much different team with J7 on the left and with Willock in the middle. David says another winger. I doubt it would rather see another central striker. Listen, who's to say we're not? There's nobody telling me that we're not going to go out and get a striker, because I think that is, it all depends on Wilson for me as to what we do with the striker. I mean, everybody's, had the say on Callum Wilson, me included. And I think possibly he wants out because he's not really, judging by what we see from the outside, he's not really making that huge effort to get back in back to full fitness. And by the time he gets match fit, it's going to be Christmas, January anyway. So it may be the time for Wilson to move on. But, striker is somebody that we are looking at. Lewis Hall is the best left back in the country. Bowen would be ace with better players around him. Jordan says, sorry, Paul, Bowen is 29 soon. You sure they will risk that money on a player who's going to be 30 soon? Well, listen, the report that I've got in front of me states that he's 27. Yeah, so I said 26, 27. But look, I'll go back to what I said. I think it depends on, the here and now and what he can do for us now. If we were going to go out and get a Jarrod Bowen, for me, that would be for the now. It's not for the future. It's not for a future sale. It's not for anything like that. It's to go out and do it now. And we need players. So many times over the last few transfer windows, we've been very quiet bringing players in, but we've generally signed a few youngsters who've gone straight into the academy. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all, getting players for the future. But we need to think about the here and now as well, and players that can do it for the next couple of seasons. And Bowen could, no doubt about it. David says, I think Bowen would fit in well and exactly what we need for this season. I think we may see Barnes, not necessarily direct to West Ham, leaving to make up any difference in fee. Looney Tunes says, West Ham would prove him out of a move. They need him more than they need the money. Ruffy Benisian says, both are flexible, able to play right wing and through the middle. For me, look at Daniel Marlin at Dortmund. He's been playing mainly on the right and can play left wing and centre forward as well. Do you know what? Daniel Marlin has been mentioned a lot of times. He's a fabulous player, and he's pacey, he's good on the ball, and he can score a few goals as well. Marlin, when he was coming through in Holland, was a very appealing player to a lot of people, or a lot of Premier League teams, but then he made the move to Germany, and I think going with Dortmund was probably the right move for him. He's an exceptional player. Could he do it in the Premier League? Could that kind of player do it in the Premier League? I think he could. But certainly there's no links to Daniel Marlin at all at the minute. So maybe there will be. I mean, we seem to get linked to every player in the world, don't we? So at one point, I would think Daniel Marlin would. Steve Cook says, we need to go quickly from Mbeumo and make a good offer. If it takes too long, all the tea in China won't get him out of the club. Again, it's a problem, right? You look at January window and you think, right, how quickly have we done deals in the past and how quickly have we got them through? Not quick enough, in my opinion. It's been a very slow build for some of these big name transfers that have come in. You look at the Botman one, for instance, that seemed to take forever to get through. Bruno's was a slow burner. We don't seem to get deals done as quick as other clubs do. And that's the only worry that I've got for January is the fact that, if we were to go for a Bowen or an Mbeumo, how long is that deal going to take to get through when both clubs will shut the gates and say, we do not want to sell? It's how many times do we go back? We saw it in the summer window with the Guehi thing, which dragged on way too long. It was pathetic in the end, how long we went in for that deal. But that can all change. It depends on how Mitchell does his business. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing the most in January is how Mitchell conducts himself and how Mitchell is he quicker than what we've seen before to get deals done? And is he going to, stick with what happened in the summer and keep going back in for a player that, it didn't look like we were ever going to get, to be fair. The Guehi deal, they just kept putting the price up. Now, we can't afford to do that in January. If we to go for a player in January, like an Mbeumo or a Jarrod Bowen, for instance, we've got to be ruthless this time and say, right, there it is. Take it or leave it. If you don't like this deal, we will move on. Because I'm sure Newcastle United will have more than one target to go for on that right-hand side. I'm hoping and praying that we have that already. That they have a list of players who are going to be a target, and Mitchell is working behind the scenes to see what might be available come January. But again, this is all what we're going to have to wait and see is how quick they work. John says, isn't this story about Bowen a sign that Mitchell is doing his job? Options for the same position instead of chasing one target. It's good to see. 100% agree with that, John. Yeah. I really do think that Mitchell is doing a lot of work behind the scenes. He's had his critics since he's come into the club, but this is his first real transfer window where he can build up to it, if that makes sense. He's not coming in the middle of a transfer window or anything like that. He's building up to this one. And I hope that come when this January window opens that we are ready to go. Because it's obvious what positions we need to target. I think right winger, definitely. A striker, yes, and a centre-back. Because we're not sure what Botman's going to come back like, but I still think we need cover for Fabian Schär. Yes, Emil Kraft's there, but if we're to be an elite club pushing for Europe season after season, we're going to have better players, and I think we all know that. We know that the capabilities of the players we already have, but if we're to up the ante here and get into certainly the Champions League positions, we are going to need players who are capable of doing that. And Fabian Schär's form, hasn't been great of late. Is he starting to maybe take a dip with his age? I don't know. That's something we'll find out through the course of the season. But I definitely want to see much more from Fabian Schär. And if not, then we need somebody to cover for him. Lars, good afternoon to you. I just hope we go for targets that actually want to play for us and who doesn't join just to be a cash out for their former club. Well, I think that's something that Mitchell will definitely have a keen eye on. And I think those, around the back room at Newcastle United will only want to bring players in who are ready to go and who want to play. Because I agree with you. And I think that's been a long-standing thing. If they don't want to play for Newcastle United or they're unsure about playing for Newcastle United, then don't. Don't sign. Simple. Pedro says, Paul, I think Wilson wanted away in the summer with his cryptic messages and he's refusing to play. And Eddie is saying he's injured to keep the fans off his back. I mean, there's so many fans would agree with you, Pedro, to be honest. So many out there would agree with you and say, yes, Callum, coming up with ridiculous excuses like his body, he didn't feel like he could push his body, etc., etc. I'm not so sure about that at all. And, I'm tending to swing on that side of, Wilson wants away. He was very unhappy that he again didn't get the move to Atletico Madrid. And we all know what happened after that. He's played very, very little football. 4 games, I think, since that all happened. I mean, that's just not good enough. And now, supposed to be back for the second game of the season. He's still not fit yet. I don't know. We're not privy to go see what goes on behind the scenes, but given what it looks like from the outside looking in, I genuinely believe that Wilson wants out. Paul Charlton says, Bowen not the player for us. His heart wouldn't be in it. He's settled in Essex. I don't know how you would know that, Paul, to be fair. You know, I mean, he was linked with Newcastle, of course, once before. And it was a complete farce of a transfer. Apparently, he was sitting in the services near Newcastle waiting to sign, and it didn't happen. Look, we all know who he's married to and who his connections are, things like that. Fair enough. However, you know, this is going back to saying, you know, settled in down south and stuff like that. Newcastle, you know, is it an area where he'd want to come and sign and play for? I think he would. I genuinely think he would. If the money was right, and everything sort of fitted in with what he wanted and what the club wanted as well. They have to meet in the middle somewhere, of course. I think Bowen would sign, but it's a very difficult deal to do given the length of his contract that he's still got at West Ham. Leighton says Bowen and Buemo in January. Really, teams going to let players like that go in the Premier League? Logically, I can't see it. Well, this is what we're talking about, Leighton. This is what we're talking about, how difficult the January transfer window is. We know it's a very difficult window. That's just fact. It is a very, very difficult transfer window in January. You know, you've got teams who are desperate to sell players so they can buy themselves, you know, especially teams down in relegation positions that need to improve their squad. They may have to sell. You know, let's look at West Ham. If they're in the relegation zone come January, they are going to press the panic button because they shouldn't be there with the players they've got. The manager is having a dreadful time at the moment, and I'm very skeptical as to whether he's going to be West Ham manager by the time the window opens anyway. But if West Ham are down there, you just don't know. They might have to cash in to bring in other players. I mean, you know, they bought a lot in the summer, but it's not working for them. You'd hope after the mess in the summer, we'd be ready to go on January the 1st. 100%. Steve Heddes says, for me, we need a right centre-back, a right winger, and a striker over the next two windows, and then we'll be a top four side. Bowen is a cracker, but I prefer Buemo for his all-round game. Get the three in, and we'll be a hell of a side. I can't argue with that. I can't argue because we know, we've seen where we need to improve the squad. It's right there in front of us, guys, and it's blatantly obvious to see. But it's getting them in. It's getting them through the door and making sure that whoever we do bring through the door is the quality required to make the step up. We desperately need to improve the quality on the right-hand side. Yes, you know, striker, fair enough with the situation with Callum Wilson, but Asula has looked very good when I've seen him. But we haven't seen enough of him to make a general judgment yet as to whether he could be reserved to Isak. Gordon can play on the right, absolutely. There is options for Eddie Howe now. We can see that from the performance against Arsenal. And certainly I think seeing Joe Linton and Willock back working that left-hand side that we saw so successfully a couple of seasons ago, that excites me because I think that's their best positions. And we can hurt teams because we've got the physicality of Joe Linton there, and we've also got the running and the speed of Willock and the skill of Willock. When he's on form, he's sometimes untouchable with what he does. But the problem is with Willock, sometimes I don't think he even knows what he's going to do with the ball. Peter says we still need to move out the Deadwood in January as well. Did you see Keith Downey's last video saying Botman isn't as close as we thought? Looking at after Christmas, New Year when he's back, centre-back is a must in the window. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, look, Botman's been putting these cryptic messages out on social media as well, hasn't he? And, you know, that's the way Botman is. And you can tell that Botman is excited to get back. But again, as we've seen with players so far, coming back, they take the time with. And Botman's has been a horrific injury, same as Lascelles. They are going to take the time to come back. And again, if you're looking at, like Keith says, if you're looking at after Christmas, you've got to get him fit. You've got to get him match fit. So that takes a while as well. So 100% agree that we do need to bring in a centre-back. Foxy says, good win for Sao Paulo yesterday, but Jamal Lewis getting absolute pelters off after 58 minutes. Fans saying he can't control the ball and hopefully he doesn't play again. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah. I mean, look, he's not going to play for Newcastle again, is he? Let's be fair. I'd consider sort of Jamal Lewis gone now anyway. So, best of luck to him. Wilson isn't playing because the club plan to sell him. Can't risk an injury before January. C15 Rise says, let's be honest, people have complained, including the channel, about Eddie choosing English-based players. But I feel it gives them more time to bed in and better starting rapport. Look, I haven't. Yes, some people on the channel have been a little bit disappointed that he seems to be only targeting English players. But I don't mind if the English players are internationals. You know what I mean? When we're talking about bringing in youngsters for the academy and stuff, yes, we brought in a lot of English talent. But for the first team, you know, you look at the signings that we've made. I mean, yeah, Dan Burn, Lloyd Kelly, Lewis Hall, Livramento, they are English, but we've also signed Isak, we've also signed Tonali, Bruno, Botman, etc. So there's a mixture of English and foreign talent. And I think it boils down to me as to who's going to be the best player to fit that position, whether it be an Englishman or a foreigner. I don't care, quite frankly. I just want somebody to come into that right-hand side position and do a job and be very good at what they do. You know, not one of these players that maybe has a good 4 or 5 games and then disappears into the sunset, or Jacob Murphy, who, you know, 1 minute he does something brilliant and you say, yeah, go give him an opportunity. And when he gets an opportunity, he doesn't perform. You know, we need somebody who's going to be at a consistent level all the way through and not drop off. So I don't care whether they're foreign or English. I just want somebody that, you know, can do the job. Good afternoon, Niall. I'm going to have to throw 2 right wingers out there who we could get. Nicholas Toon from Celtic and Eden Zagrova. Both quality and probably won't cost as much as Mbeumo or Bowen. Yes, but again, we come to this thing, Niall, is, you know, are we taking a risk on these players because they're maybe not as well known as an Mbeumo or a Jarrod Bowen, for instance? The guy at Celtic, I've seen him a couple of times this season. You know, Kuhn is a very good player, and I don't think it would cost anywhere near the amount of money that we're talking about for Jarrod Bowen or for Mbeumo. But again, Celtic in the position that they're in, you know, they're having a right tussle with Aberdeen this season, funny enough, not Rangers. So would they sell in January? I'm not so sure. Certainly, a summer transfer. Maybe we just bring a loan player in. You know, I know we tend not to, but we could bring a loan player in on that right-hand side. I wouldn't really want that, to be honest, but it's a possibility. Let's have a look. Ron says it's not Bowen who will decide to move. It's our wife and family. Moving north is a big ask for them. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think, you know, Newcastle, again, I think there's a lot of players out there who are now surprised at how lovely it is up here. And many people could make the move if they really wanted to. Trolls, good afternoon. We need to sell Doobs. He's awful. And if Pope gets injured, he will play with... which scares the shit out of me, to be honest. Well, there is rumours today. I've seen a couple of reports linking us again to Trafford. Apparently, Eddie Howe is targeting James Trafford as the replacement for Nick Pope eventually. Now, Trafford, for me, is an excellent goalkeeper. And, you know, yes, he's got a mistake or two in him at the minute, but he's very raw. I think he can be a top goalkeeper. He proved that in the England under-23s championship, that, you know, where Gordon was absolutely fantastic as well. I think James Trafford could be the answer. There's not many sort of other, certainly on an English level, goalkeepers out there. But yeah, it could be James Trafford. English players at English clubs is a good thing. Paul says, would anyone sell Barnes to offset a deal in January? I can see that happening. I can see that happening. I know it sounds very, very harsh on Harvey Barnes, etc., but I do see that happening. You know, Barnes must be thinking now, you know, especially now Joe Linton and Willock have come in, and we spoke about this the other day on the show. If those two come in, it could be very difficult for Harvey Barnes to fight his way back. And we mentioned about him playing cup games. That's not going to be good enough for Harvey Barnes. But, you know, maybe it just doesn't work out for Harvey and we get money from him elsewhere. It's certainly a possibility. Kevin says, agree. There's just too many reasons for him not to move. And he definitely won't want to come to Newcastle just to be behind Gordon in the pecking order. That's if Gordon stays on the right. Look, they may have made the decision now that they're happy with Gordon on the right. But then again, who've we got to come in if Gordon gets injured? It's again, Miggy or Murphy. I think Miggy personally might be on his way in January. I think he'd be away. Saudi certainly interested. He's not getting football at Newcastle, is he? So I think he could be out the door. But again, is Murphy going to be that ideal replacement? Squad rotation's a big thing. And I'm sure if Bowen signed, he'd get plenty of minutes. Paul says, I hope Newcastle go for Bowen. First price comes in for Bruce Paul's rejects. Just accept the offer, no matter what it is. Yeah, we've got to get we've got to get some deadwood out the club. We simply have to. But again, it's all right saying that, offers coming in. But when you look at some of these players and you think, right, some of the wages they're on as well, who are going to come in for these players? I mean, we've got Matt Targett still out with an itchy foot or whatever it is. Who's going to look at Matt Targett and think, he's going to be reliable? Nobody. Nobody is going to think Matt Targett's reliable to stay fit and be in the side. It's not happening. But anyway, let's move on to Lewis Hall, shall we? Now, Thomas Tuchel has apparently watched Lewis Hall and is very, very impressed with what he sees from him. Now, Lewis Hall is one of the few English left backs who is at the top of their game at the moment. And I'm not counting age in this, right? Forget how old Lewis Hall is. Okay, it's if you're good enough for me. And Lewis Hall is good enough. Does he still have a little bit of raw elements to his game? Absolutely does. However, what player doesn't? You look around players in certain positions on the England squad and think, are they the complete player? No, there's still a lot of work to do. But is Thomas Tuchel the man that could, as well as Eddie Howe, get Lewis Hall stepped up? Absolutely. Cut out these little errors and stuff like that. I think Lewis Hall could well be England's left back for years and years to come. Tino Livramento on the right-hand side was much better against Arsenal. And again, wouldn't it be amazing if England's right back and left back were Newcastle's full backs for years to come? I just think it'd be fantastic. Lewis Hall has a very mature head on his shoulders, and he's not frightened to try things either. And I've got to take my hat off to Lewis Hall for that, because I think Lewis himself, he takes risks in games, but he's got that confidence in his own ability. And I'd rather see a player that has confidence in his ability than just say, well, I think I can do it, but I'm not going to do what I planned. I'm going to do something else. And I think with Lewis Hall, he's a very confident young lad as well. And listen, we have to take our hats off to the manager for Lewis Hall as well, because all of us were screaming last season for Lewis Hall to play more games, but he wasn't ready. And I think we saw that in a couple of games that Lewis played, that there was a few mistakes creeping in, no matter how good we thought he was. But Eddie's took his time with him. And I think he should take a big, big pat on the back for that, because we've got a left back now coming through who is already, for me, ready to go into that England squad. You look at other left backs around, you've got certainly Mitch. I think Mitchell at Crystal Palace is the one that would sort of battle him for that position. But Thomas Tuchel has already watched Lewis Hall. And that says a lot for me, that Lewis Hall is definitely in his plans. Now, the reports are saying that Tuchel is obviously in communication with Lee Carseley about the next squad coming up for the November internationals. And Lewis Hall is apparently going to be part of that. Now, I think that's whether he plays or not, forget that for now. But just the fact that Lewis Hall, at his age and where he's at in his career, could be in the England squad. And Tuchel knows him from Chelsea. He was coming through with Chelsea when Tuchel was there. I think Tuchel gave him his debut. I'm pretty sure he did. So Tuchel knows all about Lewis Hall and what he's capable of already. And the fact that England just don't have a left back right now, it's very much square pegs in round holes when it comes to left back with England. I mean, everybody's shouting about, Luke Shaw getting fit and all of this. Bollocks. He's not going to be that player anymore. Right? Luke Shaw's had his opportunity, and for me, that's been and gone. We need the new generation of fullbacks coming through. Livramento is one of them on the right. There is others, and Lewis Hall is the other one on the left. And again, there's others who are going to challenge him for that position. But if Lewis Hall gets called up into this England squad, the experience for him is going to be incredible. And again, will take his game to the next level if he's regularly getting called up to the England squad. Kev says Tuchel knows Hall. He'll know exactly what he can bring, and would be madness if he didn't select him. No natural English left fullback out there who is getting as much game time as Hall, apart from Mitchell. Celine says, sorry, off topic, can we just take a second to congratulate Donald Trump? Really? Why would you want to congratulate Donald Trump? I mean, for one, we're not a politics channel. And two, I think the man is off his nut. But you know what? If he makes life better for America, then go for it. But I haven't got an opinion on it. I'm not a politician. I'm not into politics. Yeah. Yeah, so Lewis Hall, I definitely think deserves a chance. And judging by the comments that are coming in, absolutely 100%. Everybody is a wants him in the squad. But there's people said, very over the course of this season, the games that he's played, he's made a few mistakes that have been addressed. But to be honest, the mistakes he's made are. I mean, they've turned around. He's got back. He's made a few mistakes, but he's also got back and rectified them. And again, for me, that's a bonus seeing Lewis Hall do that, is rectifying his mistakes, that he's capable of getting back and doing it. And I think now, certainly what I've seen in the last couple of games, with Lewis Hall at left back, with Willock and Joe Linton, the three of them are superb down the left-hand side. It gives us different options down that left. You've got Lewis Hall bombing on the overlap, Willock and Joe Linton. Joe Linton tends to stay the furthest back, especially if Lewis Hall bombs on, but he's also got the protection there as well. And I think that protection has brought Lewis Hall's game on leaps and bounds. I think he's so confident what he does. The kid impresses every time he plays, doesn't he? He seems to get better and better and better. And I think hats off to everybody who's been involved with bringing Lewis Hall on, because I just think he's going to be absolutely superb. How's Paul doing? Hope you're good. I'm better, mate. Obviously, with Parkinson's, it's just hit and miss. I have to put up with what I have to put up with. It's some days I feel okay. Then next days, like Monday night, I hadn't been well throughout the day. I had a little fall on the afternoon down a couple of stairs, and I just didn't feel right. But I thought I'll give the show a go. I didn't tell any of my colleagues about it. I just thought, right, I'm going to go on. I'm not going to make a fuss. I'm just going to do the show. But it was plain to me once I'd got through 10, 15 minutes of the show, I wasn't feeling great. And to be honest, what's good for me is I've got the guys that can just jump on and take my place. Alex did a fabulous job taking over the hosting duties. Billy's there, and of course Sam, who she hosts the ladies show on a Tuesday. She can do it as well. And I've got a very, very good team behind me, not just on camera but behind the scenes as well. They're a great bunch of people who we've got a big family here, and we all support each other. And people know how difficult it is for me living with this illness. Even though you can read some people who would say that I don't have an illness, which is absolutely outrageous considering, but never mind. So it's a brilliant team behind the scenes, and Susan's getting there as well. She's actually picked up a kidney infection now to go with a kidney stone, so things aren't great for her. But one thing about Susan is she just battles on. She just battles on. She's still, going around the house with a smile on her face, no matter how much pain she's in. She's just a wonderful, wonderful woman, and deserves a medal the size of a frying pan. The way she looks after me and the kids, and just incredible woman. But we do have a great team here at the Toon Review. Conjo says, I don't see how Hall can be left out. We constantly play right-footed left backs for England, which stifles the team. He is the perfect fit. 100%. I mean, how can anyone disagree with that? Why play a right back and left back for England when we have a left back here in Lewis Hall, who's at the top of his game right now and can get even better? He's got to be in there. He simply has to be. I'd be astounded if he's not. But these reports are saying that Thomas Tuchel is very keen on getting him into the squad, and has been in touch with Carseley over the next one. Thanks for all the lovely messages, guys. It's just a fantastic community on this Toon Review. It really is. Whether it be on camera, off camera, or the subscribers and viewers, it's just a brilliant, brilliant channel to be part of, and I'm glad you're all along for the ride. DK35 says, good defenders going around for 30 million. Simicant to Saudi was mad. And look how awful the Palace lad is this season. Yeah, I mean, Gay's not playing well. He hasn't looked himself. He's looked okay for England. But for Palace, I mean, Jesus Christ. It's, 2 p.m. tomorrow is the England squad announcement, apparently. So maybe we'll go live for that, because that could be a very interesting show, especially if Lewis Hall is called into it. So we may do a show tomorrow afternoon. But listen, there's over 600 people on both platforms watching this. So thank you very much for watching the news show. I do want to bring the live shows back. I think it's better. I love doing the live shows because I get to communicate with you guys as we're live. I realize that obviously a lot of people will be at work and can't watch it till later on, but we'll see how the viewing figures look once, after 24 and 48 hours. And hopefully people that haven't watched it live can go back and watch it on a rerun. A lot of people do that anyway. But thank you very much. Right, what I want to do is, I had an email from a guy called, one of our subscribers, Bill Rogers, and he's put this song together on AI. About Newcastle United, and I listened to it this morning. I thought I have to play this on the show, and we'll play it on the show again tonight. But for those of you lucky enough that are in now, I'm going to play it now. It's a couple of minutes long. It's about Newcastle United, but the actual words in the song just fit how this season's going at the minute. It is absolutely brilliant. So just take a couple of minutes to listen to this and see what you think, folks. I'm going to disappear off the screen for a minute, but I'll play the song straight away.
The big things come and get battered. Against the small ones, hopes are shattered. Just one question's from the Toon army. Does he start long, start for tonight? We were halfway down the table, but we play well in the cup. Against Arsenal we were able to climb a bit further up. We win, we sing, we lose, we cry. It's a Geordie thing, don't ask me why. Should Eddie be gone or is he class? I've been on the fence for so long, I've got splinters in the eyes. We are the Mags, and we love the Toon. Wearing black and white, but we're drinking brew. We're all local heroes, we play it every game. We've never been to play the races, but we sing it all the same. We win, we sing, we lose, we cry. It's a Geordie thing, don't ask me why. Should Eddie be gone or is he class? I've been on the fence for so long, I've got splinters in me ass. On the left wing, is it Gordon? Is it Barnes or Big Joe? But who's that playing left back? Dan Burno, please God no. Is Mickey on the right wing? Let that be a nope. We've got 37 goalkeepers, but we pray he'll play Nick Pope. We are the Knights, and we love the Toon. We're black and white, but we're drinking brew. We're all local heroes, we play it every day. We've never been to play the races, but we sing it all the same. We win, we sing, we lose, we cry. It's a Geordie thing, don't ask me why. Should Eddie be gone or is he class? I've been on the fence for so long, I've got splinters in me ass. We love the Toon, we love the Toon. We sing it proud and we're never backing down. We are the Geordie Magpies, playing black and white. Don't confuse us with our neighbours, cause they're a pile of. We love the Toon, we love the Toon. We sing it proud and we're never backing down. We are the Geordie Magpies, we play in black and white. And when you come to our back garden, you just might die of fright. We win, we sing, we lose, we cry. It's a Geordie thing, don't ask me why. Should Eddie be gone or is he class? I've been on the fence for so long, I've got splinters in me ass.
So there you go. I think that the lyrics, yes, it's AI generated, guys. You know, Brian made no secret of that because he's not a musician. But I believe that Brian put the words into the AI generator and it came up with that song. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And the words, the lyrics are just brilliant. It just sums up us Newcastle United fans, especially the chorus when it says we win and then we lose, we cry. You know, it just sums us up. It sums absolutely everything up. And that is going to be the TTR song now. You know, we'll play it on quite a few shows. We'll keep it on the show, definitely. And a massive thank you to Brian for sending that in, because I think it's brilliant. He's put the lyrics together, he's put it into a generator, and it's come out with a song like that. That is now going to be the TTR song, not the intro or anything, but just the official song of the Toon review. And Brian's absolutely delighted to be part of that. So thank you very much. I just love the thing about sitting on the fence with Eddie Howe. I've got splinters in my ass. It just shows you what a great community we have on the Toon review, and people are willing to, you know, put in such effort to do things like that and send it into the channel. Brilliant, catchy tune. I will play it again tonight on. It's just going to be a general news show again tonight, guys. Just for we'll pick up some more news stories and we'll have a chat with you guys, and you guys get involved with any questions you've got as well. So we'll have a great show tonight at 7 o'clock. But we'll play it again, absolutely. And just want to say a massive shout out to the Toon Review sponsor, Mamaroo Records as well. That link will be pinned at the top of the description after the show. Please go and check them out. Go and have a if you're in Whitley Bay, they're opposite Greg's in the centre. Go and have a look in there. If you're into your music and certainly your vinyl stuff, he's the one to go and see. So we're very proud to have Mamaroo Records as sponsor of the Toon Review. So thank you again to them. But that's it for the show today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like I say, everybody seems to like these live shows rather than the recordings, which I do as well, because I can interact with you guys live instead of just putting comments down below. But if you're watching this on a rerun, let me know in the comments below what you thought of today's show and what you thought of the points that we brought up. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you to the mods, and of course, thank you to you guys. Well over 600 watching, which is fantastic for a daytime show. We will keep these going. I promise. I love doing them. And with your help, we can keep this channel growing. So remember to hit that thumbs up button, guys. And of course, if you're new, please do subscribe. It is a fantastic community, as you've seen on this show. It is just the best community that we could ask for. So thank you, everybody. And we'll see you again at 7 o'clock tonight. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Have a fantastic day, folks. And we'll see you tonight. Take care.
Come back and check on some breathing.